we've heard from the administrator that the crawler transporter, got out to the pad. It's in position to roll back as soon as next week. From the outside, that seems pretty quick, especially in comparison to the turnaround from Artemis 1. You just talk about how the pad performed, the mobile launcher as well, and just being able to be in this position where you're getting the hardware on its way back to the VAB so quickly.
Yeah, for Artemis 2, our ground systems performed magnificently. We brought on a new hydrogen sphere, 1.4 million gallons. So you add that to the other sphere. We still use both, and the new sphere and all the cryogenic hardware worked great. We had to make some modifications to our environmental control systems of the pad. All those modifications worked great. We, so during the launch countdown, we took very few non-conformances on the ground systems themselves. And during the, as you know, during the terminal point in our launch countdown, not a single hit. And we didn't have to talk much about ground systems at all. So again, the lessons learned from Artemis 1 paid off during our launch countdown. We did receive quite a bit of damage to the mobile launcher during the Artemis 1 launch. And so, we looked at the damage and we modeled, we updated our models, and then we we hardened the ML, if you will, in various places where we had the most damage, and especially critical systems.
Like the elevator?
Yep, we reinforced the elevator, did quite a bit of structural changes to the interior of the elevator shaft to reinforce it. And I'm happy to say that one elevator is almost up and the second one is going to be up very soon. And so, after Artemis 1, there was a lot of reasons for us to stay at the launch pad. And for one, one of the things that did not work in Artemis 1 was the pad and the mobile launcher washdown systems. And that happened because we lost GN2, the gaseous nitrogen, to the mobile launcher, so we couldn't turn the washdown on when we wanted to. And the washdowns are used to clean the SRB residue off immediately after launch. Well, we addressed those issues for Artemis 2, and the washdown came on right after launch, like it was supposed to, and so we were able to get the the mobile launcher cleaned off fairly quickly, and therefore we didn't have to replace all that tubing. If you recall, we had thousands of feet of high pressure gas tubing that we had to replace on the mobile launcher itself, and I'm not aware of any tubing that we're going to have to replace for this time. So the hardening that we did, some of the ablative coatings we put on it paid off. The structural reinforcements of the elevator paid off. We banded some of our critical electrical cabinets with steel bands so that the doors didn't open. All that worked. We did have some damage. The blast doors on the zero deck worked perfectly. Mm-hmm. They stayed shut just like they were supposed to. And that's the first, 0 to 30 feet is where we have the biggest plume loads. We call it turn flow. And so we spent a lot of time reinforcing those levels. On the levels going up the mobile launcher, some of the doors did open, but they did not cause, any significant damage. So all in all, the mobile launcher fared much better. I'll put it this way. So the engineering team at KSC said, well, if damage on Artemis 1 was a 10, Artemis 2 is probably about a 3. Wow. And coming from our very conservative engineering team, that's music to a program manager's ears, right?
Oh yeah.
So we got some work to do. I mean, we did lose some panels on the side walls of the flame hole. That was not expected, and we're currently doing the analysis. It could be, the bolts themselves may need to be strengthened or changed. We're still trying to figure it out, but we will, and we don't think it's going to constrain our rollback. And any strengthening or replacement of those bolts will be done in the VAB. So I think we're on track to roll late next week. The weather's not been great lately. Yeah,
so I've heard.
It's been windy, and when it's windy, we can't get people up into high places. With what we call the JLGs. These are devices. You've seen people up in these baskets, and we can't do that in high winds. So we're a little bit behind on what we want to have done by this time, but I think by the end of the week we'll be okay.